Some kind of beautiful this morning. I tell you, I shot a video yesterday doing I went into the chat of Bigfoot Odyssey from the interview that I did this last time, and I got all the questions out that people asked that I didn't get to answer. I shot a video for that yesterday. It's going to take a while to upload on this country internet that I complain about all the time. But there's one thing that I've been meaning to talk about that I keep getting asked and I keep forgetting to address it is the time that the producer for the History Channel contacted me about a TV show. And I went into a little bit about this whenever I shot the video for the mailbag question and answer session. But we've got a lot of new people on the channel, and I haven't went into a lot of detail about it, but it's important, I think, that I mention some of this stuff because it kind of goes back to a message from David Politis from Missing 411. But for those of you who don't know, I'm going to go over this email again. I'll use his full name, you know, whatever. My name is TJ Allard. I'm a television producer. I came across your videos on YouTube, and it's really interesting what's going on your property. I love the chance to speak with you more about it if you'd be interested. I feel there may be an opportunity for a television show here. Have you thought about doing TV? Is it something you'd be interested in? I hope you and your family are safe and well during these difficult times. I look forward to hearing back from you at your earliest convenience. I can't help but laugh because, you know, the first thing that comes to mind is the Tiger King. And the guy was telling me that, man, you got a personality that's made for TV. I'm like, well, so did the Tiger King. We see where that got him, how well that did him. But anyway, I emailed this guy back and I said, first thing came to mind, is this real or a prank? My second thought was, they'll be making memes about me worse than Tiger King or Joe Exotic. I said, sure, I'll talk about it, even if it's just for a good story to tell at the next volunteer fire department potluck. I sent him my phone number, and anyway, he says, thanks for responding, definitely not a prank. Your story is really interesting. I'm not sure there can be anything worse than memes about that show, haha. I'll give you a call about this afternoon around 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. Well, you know, first thing, I didn't give much thought into this because, I mean, come on. But anyway, I tell you, the reason why I've decided to even bring this up today is because, you know, around this time this stuff was going on and I was giving it some consideration and we were having talks about this TV show, and I had brought in a couple other people that I thought would be the most interesting part to center around the show, like my friend Troy Hudson from the Native Oklahoma Bigfoot Research Organization and stuff, because he's got a lot more to offer than just this one story that's happening here on my property. But about that time that David Politis posted a video on his Can-Am Missing Persons Project, or whatever channel that he's got here on YouTube. And I've talked in the past about the good Lord puts things in your path to get your attention, and I firmly believe in that. David posted this video that day where he was talking to people. He said, you know, people that are in the comment sections making fun, putting smart-ass remarks, are throwing out wild theories about what's happening to these people. He said, y'all got to be mindful that there's victims, families of these missing people that frequent this channel, that I've earned their trust, and they come here and they don't have answers, and they don't have a resolution. You know, it's not resolved for them with the situation that's happened to their families and missing loved ones. And he said, y'all need to be mindful of that when y'all making these comments on these videos, whether you being a smart ass or you putting wild theories out there. And he was like, you need to explain where this theory's coming from. Is it just something you just come with off the top of your head? Is it something factual based? He goes into a big deal on that, and it really caught my attention. I'll tell you why, because, you know, and even to this day, I sit there and I start talking. People ask me about when this started, like, you know, on Bigfoot Odyssey. Well, tell us when this all began for you. And I always start with my son's experience on November the 10th, when he had the sighting here in the yard, right over here, with had a bear with a white face, and it, you know, was looking at me. But if you really think about when this really began for me and for us and my family, it really began when I started watching Missing 411 documentary on YouTube about 5 days prior to my son's encounter. And that really just hit me that that's when this really began. And if I actually did a TV show that was going to be surrounded around what's happening here at my property, that there's going to be a certain amount of people that's going to be tuning in because I mentioned 411 and the fear and children being missing, taken, and the fear behind me worrying that something might happen to one of my children. And there's going to be people tuned in because of that. And this is a text message I sent TJ, and it's just best I just read it to you because, you know, sometimes when I'm just speaking, sometimes I come across better in text message than I do in person. But anyway, we had talked on the phone that day, and he had texted me, he said, Mark, I just want to see if you had a minute to talk on the phone about this TV show. Just let me know, hope all goes well. I said, okay, sounds good. Well, after him and I talked, I got to watch this video on Missing 411, and I went, and he's a producer for The Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch that was on History Channel here recently. His company was the one that produced and brought that TV show to History Channel, and that's what they were wanting to do with me. And I had watched this on David Pilatus' YouTube, and I said, you know, I better go look at some of this footage and stuff from The Secrets of Skinwalker Ranch and see what I'm really dealing with and what type of programming they're bringing to the TV. And one thing that tickles me to death was watching this this clip that I saw. All these guys sitting around talking how they can't get this $35,000 drone to fly, and there's electrical interference and it shut it down, and everybody's pulling their phones out and their phones are dead, and well, my damn phone's dead, my phone's dead too, and all this other stuff, but the cameras are still working. And that's the first thing I thought of. Well, the cameras seem to be working just fine. I need to build these damn drones and cell phones out of camera components apparently. But anyway, they're like, well, we can't do nothing. This drone won't fly. Let's get the hell out of here. So they load this drone back up. They got a convoy of white SUVs that you typically see on TV. And it shows this shot of them backing out and heading down this dirt road. Well, that shot that they got from of the SUV convoy taking off down this dirt road was shot from a drone, obviously. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, how come this drone with the camera shooting the B footage is flying, but the $35,000 one can't fly? And I understand that it's TV, and that they can't sit around and just be recording all the time when anomalies are happening. If they got to, you know, make a little bit of stuff up as they go along or recreate something. But they didn't list this as a recreation. They act like this is something that was really happening. And it just reeked of bullshit to me. The fact that, you know, that they talking about this drone won't fly, but they got some beef footage of them driving off in their white convoy SUVs, taken from obviously a drone, and have all the electronics to quit working, but the cameras are still working. That's the only clip I watched from that entire show. I had enough of it with that. And I sent this text message to TJ. I said, one thing I want to mention that I forgot while we was on the phone, the Missing 411 documentary addresses the unusual disappearance of children in rural areas and state parks. When my son had his experience, immediately thought about the details surrounding the disappearance of these children in that documentary. This all started because of missing children and the fear that one might be taken. If this really happens, talking about the TV show, then there will be parents of missing children, and most that will be watching, and most do not have any closure. Not to mention others living with unanswered questions surrounding the disappearance of family members. If this really goes to TV and it is any less than truthful and authentic, it will be an insult to the people who are trying to cope with the disappearance of loved ones. This is my real concern. I'm not saying that you're being less than honest with me. I just want it to be said now in the beginning. I don't want to come across that I'm not taking your word in this. It's just that I know what it's like when you're truthful and not believed. I just want my thoughts on this out in the open now before we go any further. And it took him a while to message me back, but he did, and he's like, well, I appreciate you telling me this, and this would be a concern for us as well. And that's pretty much when everything pretty much fell apart, was when I sent him that. Because, you know, if you really think about it, you got a bunch of fake stuff around the, you know, the fear of one of your children being taken. You got parents with missing children watching. It would be an insult. And and uh, and I credit David Politis once again for waking me up to realize that, because those thoughts that come in that text message that I sent him are almost a direct quote from a David Politis post around that time when I was talking to TJ about a TV show. And so it fell apart after that, pretty much. He had a telephone call and with me one last time, and that was the last time we spoke. I don't have any ill will towards them or nothing like that. They seem like a great bunch of guys, and I don't understand how the TV business works, but I understand that what, you know, I would want to convey on TV, and I would just be afraid that it would end up being an insult to the families of people that have missing family members who don't have answers. So I was going to take time to shoot that video this morning and tell y'all about that, about why my TV career never took off. So I saved that stuff because I sit around with my buddies and stuff. We go down to Arkansas, and I get to tell them the story about how the History Channel contacted me about being the next Pawn Star, the next Tiger King. Y'all take care.